Welcome to Fantasy or Reality, the GPP. Whatever road you took to get here doesn't matter. What matters is you're here. And my hope is that we all can help one another in this journey. Hello. Welcome back to Fantasy or Reality with your friend Stevie D. Sorry, it's been another bit since I've been on here. I definitely need to make a better effort of getting back on here and making some episodes because, like I say, every time I take a little break here, I really enjoy doing this. But I need to do a better job of finding more time to get on here and talking with the people that listen and or find this podcast. So thank you once again for waiting several months for me to do another one. But I appreciate you coming back and listening. So it is March of 2024. So that means it is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. So that means here in New York on March 5th, 6th, and 7th, the New York Council on Problem Gambling's annual conference on problem gambling will be taking place at the Albany Marriott. So if you're in the area, swing by. I'll be there at least on Thursday, hopefully part of Wednesday, but we'll see. There's going to be a lot of great speakers and a lot of great events, so come down and check it out. If you're not in New York, check your state's council or helpline or whatever it is, see if they got anything going on in those states. Anyways, though, just for today, probably not going to be too long, but I just wanted to talk about some recent things that happened that would have been triggers for me in the past that I've learned to work through. So the first thing that happened was, about 2 weeks ago, I was going to take my younger son to a birthday party. Got him in the car, was starting to drive down the road, and all of a sudden I'm hearing some grinding, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing some smoke, a little bit of white smoke coming from the right side of my car, and then it starts pulling hard to the right, and I'm like, oh, come on, what the heck is this? So I turn around, I get it home, I think it's the caliper that's locked up, yada, yada, yada. I end up getting it towed down to a local shop. They take a look at it. It ends up being like the front right strut and several other things. And just to make it drivable, it was going to be like $1,300 to fix, plus several other things that had to get done on the car. You know, it would have been several $1,000s to fix it. And I've had this car for almost 10 years. You know, if I tried to sell it, I probably would get like $4,000 or $5,000 for it. I've had it paid off for a number of years, so I was trying to ride it till it died, and that's what I did. But in recent months, I've had to put more work into it, and it was just becoming, not worth it to do it. But that then now meant that now I had this car I could not trade in, and I had to now get a new car with a new payment, which if that would have happened in my gambling days or more financially strained days, that could have very easily been a trigger for me, because financial issues and unexpected large expenses were really big triggers for me that really either got me back gambling again or made me go even harder. But this time around, I just kind of accepted what it was. I took off that Monday, and my wife and I went down to a dealership in our area and went down and got myself a 2021 Kia Forte GT. It's a nice little car. Gets good gas mileage, whatever. Got a pretty reasonable payment, and instead of stressing about the fact that now we have a new payment, I'm not freaking out because my wife and I now are in a position where you don't want to add another payment, but it's something we can handle. We've been able to save some money over the last year, and we're doing much better financially because we're working together. We're not spending on things we shouldn't be spending on. We both have good jobs, and just working hard to build a better future. So when these things happen, we have some money saved up, and I'm not gambling anymore. So it's been almost 3 years, and I'm not wasting thousands of dollars gambling and losing money and trying to chase what I think I need to fix it. So that happened. That was not fun. It was an annoying issue. I finally just got rid of the old car this weekend. Got $500 for it, which was good. Just brought it to a salvage yard. Gave me $500 for it, and go towards the other car or throw it in savings, whatever. But I didn't let it freak me out. I didn't go crazy. But there was another thing that initially I was a little stressed about, I'll be honest, but fairly quickly was able to work through it and realize whatever it is, it's going to be. And, my wife and I can pay it or, and deal with it and just learn from it for upcoming tax seasons. Let's just put it like that. So my wife and I went to go do our taxes this past week on H&R Block and put all the information in. And because this was the first year in the last 5 years, my wife had a full-time job and I got a bit of a raise this year. I just completely blanked on changing my tax status. I still had it the same it was when my wife wasn't working and it was just me and before my raise. So we're used to getting back several $1,000s, and last year was probably our best year where we got the most we'd ever gotten back. So we were expecting something similar, or, even I was expecting maybe, a reduced amount, a few $1,000s, whatever. But that was not the case. I don't know if anybody else has gone through this, but, we ended up owing. And we're going to go see another tax professional just to make sure that we did everything right. But instead of getting several $1,000s back, we owe a few $1,000s. Oof, buddy. Oh, it hurts. But like I said, once I saw what we owed, I was definitely upset, and I was like, oh my God. Here we are thinking we're going to get this, and then we end up actually having to pay this, and it's a huge swing, and it's going to impact what, we were going to do this year. We're probably going to have to cut back on other things we were going to do or trips we were going to take, but it kind of is what it is for this year. It's all right. It's just a learning process. No one's perfect. I changed my tax status the next day, so I make sure I get the correct amount of taxes taken out. And whatever the payment is, we'll be able to pay it. We'll be all right. Because like I said, not gambling, 2 incomes, working hard, being smart, saving for when things happen. So we actually have money saved up, because even before I was gambling and during gambling, I could never save money. Like for years before the gambling, it was just difficult, because we lived in an area where the rent was high and neither one of us were making what we make now. And it was just difficult to save anything. And, even to save for a house, we had to move in with my parents, which was difficult in itself. And all the money we saved, we ended up putting towards our house. And then after that, we had nothing left. And I'm sure if you've listened to this podcast, you know that story. But, it's so much better now, being in a better position where you're able to save money and able to be in a more financially sound position, because I'm not gambling, because I'm not wasting money, because I've changed my mindset. And when these things arise, not only did it not trigger me, it didn't make me even, of course, gambling didn't even come up in my mind, because of all the work I've done over the last several years to change my thinking and change my behaviors and whatnot. But even if you take the gambling out of it, I've completely changed my mindset now, where I just kind of go with the flow. Like, this is what it is. Does it suck to have a new car payment? Absolutely. Would I have rather saved that money? Absolutely. Or used it on something else? For sure. Would I, rather have gotten several thousand back instead of having to pay several thousand? Who wouldn't? This guy over here. And anybody else. Sorry, my son's been saying that. This guy. But But yeah, so I've been able to change and alter my mindset where it's like, okay, it's stressful, it sucks, but at the end of the day, it's just money. You'll always earn more. You'll always build up to a better position in life, as long as you're trying to advance yourself in either a new career or, a better job or, because like honestly, like I was thinking about this, talk about this with my wife the other day. It's like so many people today complain about not being able to get ahead and having all this difficulty in life. And while that is completely true, and corporations are sucking us dry, and the wealth gap keeps increasing, and whatever, it's more and more difficult, inflation, all that stuff I'm not going to get into on this podcast. But at the end of the day, it's like my wife works for the New York Council, and I'm a truck driver. So it's not like we have like a doctor and a dentist and a lawyer or anything crazy like that you would expect. Yeah, I'm a truck driver. I work, 60 plus hours a week. And my wife works hard too. And we are raising a family in New York, and it's expensive, but we're living a good, decent life. And not only is it because I'm not gambling and because we have a much better, more open relationship, but it's just we both, like I said, we both went to therapy. We both recognized our faults and saw where our negative thinking was bringing us, and difficulties in life, and learning to set boundaries and learning to just go with the good in life and not dwell on the negativity and the bad and expecting the worst. It's preparing for stuff that's going to happen, and when it does, being able to process it and just realize this is what it is. It's not the end of the world. A couple $1,000s this year is not going to matter in 5 or 10 years. I was just talking with one of my friends about that. He was having a conversation with somebody else recently, and I think maybe he was talking to his accountant, and he said, is this few $1,000s right now going to truly affect your life in 10 years? And if you can't answer that definitively, then you have no worries. Because I'll tell you, like this year, I would have never thought 3 years ago, 5 years ago, that my wife and I would be in this position that we are now. Like I've said a lot, I've had a lot of doubts and negative thoughts about myself in the past, and life is good today, because of all the work I've done, because of all the work my wife has done, because of the communication that we have together, because of the love that we have together. I love our family. My wife and my 2 kids are everything to me, and I couldn't be more thankful for the position I'm in. And if you would have asked me 3 years ago, I would have told you I'm not good enough for this family. I'm not good enough for myself, and I deserve whatever negative actions and consequences land on me, because it is the beginning of March, and in 2 months, on May 2nd, will be my 3-year clean date, whatever, bet-free date. So at this point, 3 years ago, I was really deep into a run, really deep into it, lost a lot of money, didn't know what I was going to do, hated myself on 1,000 levels. And it's been 3 years, and I've never been in a better position in life. I've never been happier in life. So, and a lot of that is therapy, like I said, the work I did to stop gambling, but also the work I did to change mindsets. So when these 2 big financial things hit me within a week of each other, it didn't bring me down. It's not causing all these negative, stressful, anxiety-filled nights that it would have in the past. Scared that I wasn't going to be able to pay these payments or buy a new car or pay this bill or whatever. And I'm just thankful that I'm in the position I am today. That's all I got for now. I am going to really attempt to do this more often. I promise it's not going to be another 4 months before I come back on here. I'm really going to attempt to do this at least once a month. And even if I have to do it like I did in the past, where I do a 10, 15-minute thing where I'm on the road or something like that, just to share some thoughts and ideas of where I'm at in recovery. I'd really like to get some friends on here to do some interviews, I know I've got one friend I've been trying to get on here, and it's not his fault, it's my fault. Just because I haven't been able to make the time yet, but I will make the time. If you are listening, my friend, we will get that episode done. But anyways, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for coming in and checking in. I really wish you the best in your recovery journey. Just remember that no matter where you're at, if you're on day one, if you're still gambling, if you're a year in, as long as you're putting the work in and as long as you're trying, it just incrementally gets better. There wasn't like one day during my recovery where I just like it clicked and I was like, oh my God, this is the thing. This is what I've been looking for. There were days where I made some realizations and I started the change, but it's going to be a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road, and you're going to look back and be like, oh my God, look at what has changed in my life. And you'll look back at the things that have worked for you. And you got to write those things down and remember what's worked for you, because that's what's going to keep it going for you. That's what's going to change your life, not just in recovery, not just for not gambling, but like when these things pop up, being able to handle these things in life. So I really appreciate you guys and gals. Yeah, talk to you soon. Be good to yourselves and each other. Bye. For those seeking out help, you can call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-888-532-3500. For those looking for help for your family members or affected others, you can call Gam-Anon at 718-352-1671. And if you're in New York State, you can call the New York Council on Problem Gambling at 833-437-3864.